For years, I've been trying to dial in my perfect bike rack setup. Today, we're taking a first look at the rigged Ultraswing. So originally, these were designed for off-roaders who had a spare tire that was too big to fit in the stock location. This bolts onto here, and you bolt your big spare tire onto here. Now, this isn't just for off-roaders and their spare tires. It's also for people like you and me that have a bike rack but still want to be able to access the back of their vehicle while the bike rack is on. So it's no secret I love Velocirax racks. They're my favorite racks when shuttling or traveling or camping. They're super beefy. The price is right. They fit 5 bikes on it, no problem. They're really sturdy. They can handle some light off-road use. They're one of the few racks approved to use on campers. But the main problem I have is it doesn't give me room to get into the back of my truck. And this is where I sleep when I go camping. So I'm a huge fan of Swingaways. And this one has some really cool features I want to tell you about. Let's take a look at how it works. The first step is to release this latch. And it is sturdy. It's not going to accidentally bump open on a trip. You have to exert some good force to open that. I love the cam system they've got in here. Once that's open, I'm ready to pull the pin. Right here, you'll see the safety pin to keep it from swinging open in the event that that may have opened somehow accidentally, or if you forgot to latch it. Now I put my pin into this slot to keep it open so that the wind can't blow it and crush me. That's a really important feature. Rigged also sent me the Ultra table to show you guys. This thing is slick, super solid, really well built. You can put a camp stove on here. You've got a cutting board out here that you can cut and prep your food on. That is super nice when I'm camping. I've got a totally modular setup here now. I can get in my drawers, access my camp chairs, my tools, my cooking gear, sleep on top of my deck system, and still have my camp stove here and my food prep. Really cool solution, and I like how it's modular and it all bolts together. Closing it back up, super simple. Pull the safety pin out. It's got a really nice rubber bumper for a soft close. Then I put my safety pin in and I close the latch. That is not going anywhere. That thing is so solid. So you can see my backup camera is obscured by the table and just this upright piece. Even if I didn't have the table, it'd be hard to see. Here's what the backup camera looks like with my setup. So I can still kind of see around it, but the Ultra table's in the way. And even with the Ultra table gone, the whole setup just kind of blocks that camera. But with any bike rack you've got, you're going to have compromised visibility anyway. There's a saying in the off-road world that anytime you modify your truck, you have to modify your truck. And you can't get a big table, a big Swingaway, and bike racks without some sort of compromise. And the compromise here is it blocks your backup camera and it covers your license plate. So they've got a relocation bracket here for your license plate, so you can bolt your license plate on here, but it doesn't come with a light to illuminate it at night. They do sell a kit that you can add on to do that, but then you've got wires working through here that move every time you pivot it, and I don't like wires on things that move. So personally, what I would love to see is a solution, especially for us mountain bikers that don't necessarily need the table or the whole accessory system here or to mount a spare tire. I'd love for them to build a slimmed down, simplified version that doesn't have the top part, where you can just have the Swingaway and then you can still use your backup camera. You can still have your license plate be seen without obscuring any of that. One really cool feature about this is I still have a receiver hitch. So I can still tow things on there, and this is rated to 10,000 pounds. So depending on the configuration, you could still tow a trailer with this on here, provided you're not overloading your vehicle. But that's huge to me to not lose my receiver. Super cool feature here. The rack is rated for 250 pounds combined weight. That includes your Velocirax. We've never exceeded that. I think if you loaded 5 e-bikes on there, you'd probably exceed it, but that's not a problem for me. It uses really standard hardware. There's no weird proprietary things going on. So I like that I can tighten up this hitch if there's ever any slop in it. So it does reposition where your receiver slides in slightly. It's probably 6 inches to the left and about 4 inches higher. So your rack is going to sit higher. So it's a little bit higher, a little bit more difficult to load, especially on a lifted truck like mine, but it gives you a lot of increased ground clearance, which I like. And it keeps the main receiver in the original place, which I like. That keeps it in line with your truck's receiver and it allows you to tow those higher ratings without it getting wonky. Now, because this moves the hitch a little bit further back, maybe 6 inches further from stock, you get more leverage on it. And I modified my rack to combat that. So this is not a completely stock setup. I cut off probably 6 inches of my Velocirax tongue so I could slide this in as tight as possible. I just decided to weld it on there to have one less failure point. Not everyone's going to be able to do that, but that's how I've modified it to work for me. Now, one other bummer is this has shifted everything over about 6 inches. So the whole rack sits a little bit further that way. What I plan on doing is re-drilling some holes in my Velocirax and pulling it back to center so my bikes are centered so they're not hanging off one side more than the other. Now, that's a lot of modification. I like experimenting and I like tweaking things like that. I don't mind doing that, but I know most people aren't going to want to do that. So when I get to the trailhead and it's time to unload, really easy to do. The Velocirax has gas struts that assist it down. I just unclip it here, and then I just walk backwards with my bike, and it's that simple. There's no lifting, real easy. Then when I go to put it away, put my tire there, nudge it up with my knee. There's no lifting. It requires very, very little effort to put the bikes on here. Then you just strap them in and you're ready to go. I love this setup. This Velocirax is my favorite rack. And paired up with this Ultraswing, it gives me so many options for this truck. I love that it's made in the US. I love that it's made for off-roaders. I love the design. It's real easy to use. I love that it's rebuildable. And I love that I can still tow with this. That's huge. I've never seen another Swingaway that still lets you tow while having that second receiver. Now, the real question is, how burly is this going to be in the long term? I'm going to leave it on this truck and just daily drive it and use it for shuttles and trips, and I'll report back with what I think about it and how it compares to that Kuat pivot. If you learned something new and you're interested in either of these products, either the Velocirax or the rigged Ultraswing, I have links to them in the description below, and if you use those links, it supports this channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it makes a big difference for me, and it helps these companies see that it's worth them sending me stuff to showcase to you so you can learn more about it. I'm really excited to put these through the test, and so far this is my favorite combo yet for bike racks and camping and shuttling, and it made me be able to use this truck how I love to use it again. Thanks for watching, everybody. There's a party in the mountains, and you're invited.